Let's talk about seashells, particularly how to use seashells in spell work, or how I like to use them in spell work, and what I associate them with in spell work. Because all seashells and other sea things have different correspondences. So let's go over it. Hi, lovely witch. I'm Rosa. I'm the Divine Feminine Witch, and I help witches feel empowered through working with the goddess. And something that is heavily associated with goddess energy are seashells. And so I love incorporating seashells in my magical practice. I think I like seashells just as much as I like crystals, if not more, to be honest. And it's really fun collecting them from thrift stores and from the beach. And so I thought it would be a fun video to just share with you how I like to use them in my spell work and what I associate them with. Now, I do want to preface this by saying this is based on my practice and my beliefs and what I intuitively like to use these seashells for. Before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. So let's get into it. I like to collect seashells from whenever I go to the beach. Not every time I go to the beach because I live about an hour away from the beach, so I can go pretty often. I used to live even closer. Like a lot closer, and I would go almost every morning. That being said, I do want to say that you should always acknowledge the spirits of the land that you want to work with and the elements of the land that you want to work with. So when you go to the beach and you are trying to collect seashells or any other sea things, you want to ask the mermaids, ask Mother Nature, ask the ocean for permission to grab things, and grab sparingly. Trust your intuition to only grab things that just feel right to you. It's also a good idea to collect from thrift stores. I think every time I go to a thrift store, I will check their random items, antiques, and decor section, and I will see if they have anything that is related to Venusian energy. And that is what I mostly associate seashells with, is Venusian energy. Okay, now that we've got the basics out of the way, let me show you a little bit of my collection. And I do mean a little bit because I still have more seashells scattered in my room that I've just collected over the years. The reason I made this video is because the last time that I went to the thrift store, I picked up a big jar full of seashells. This was full, by the way. I have them a little bit scattered over here, the ones that I want to share with you. This is a very easy way to grab a bunch of seashells and to be able to then use them in your spell work, because there will be several times when you'll see a jar full of seashells at your local thrift store. We're starting off with the clam. Clams are gonna look like this, and it's flat, as you can see. Clams are associated with Venusian energy, with the divine feminine, with beauty, love, abundance, fertility, everything associated with the planet Venus. And so this is a great one for any spell work that aligns with those intentions. Personally, with this, because it's flat, it would be really great to put a candle right here, just right on top of it. And the candle actually sticks really well right here. If you just melt the bottom a little bit, it'll stick there very well. And then you can put this on a fire safe dish just in case. And then you want to sprinkle around the clam your ingredients. I usually stick to maybe like 3 herbs depending on what my goal is. Maybe I'll also incorporate some crystals that also align with that energy. It doesn't have to be super intricate. I actually shared recently a glamour spell with using that seashell in the spell. So that's on my socials, so feel free to check that out. Next we have a scallop. This is gonna look similar to the clam shell, but it is very rounded like this. And then it's got like this ridginess up here, if you can see. I'm trying to show you with one hand because I'm holding the mic over here. I love scallops, and I got lucky finding this big one because this is gonna be perfect for me to put some kind of liquid base in there, such as Florida water or moon water or rose water, depending on my intention for my spell. Clams are also associated with the planet Venus, and specifically the deity Venus and Aphrodite, because of their origin story where they came to the shores of Cyprus on a scallop seashell. And so this is also associated with everything that is associated with Venus, with beauty, prosperity, and abundance, and love, self-love. But I also personally associate scallops with mostly emotional healing and cleansing and spiritual or aura cleansing. So that would be good to put moon water or even Florida water in there, and then set up either a candle like outside of the shell, just in a fire safe dish, and then in the water, I would put a petition for that aligns with my intention. Next, we have moon snail. This is a moon snail. I can't tell if you can see on there, but it's got like this iridescence. It's really pretty. And I want to show you what moon snails look like when they don't look iridescent. Hopefully it's catching it. It's trying to catch my bracelets. All snails' shells tend to have a spiral, and because of that, I like to associate snail shells with everything that is associated with the spiral. It's about fertility and abundance, and fertility doesn't necessarily have to mean literally giving birth, but it can also mean creating new things, new projects, new goals in your life. It's also associated with creativity and birth and rebirth, but the snail shell specifically I also associate with intuition and dream work. And so this is a good one to have by my bedside so that it can help me with intuitive messages in my dreams, because I do a lot of dream work. Next, we have a Whelk Shell, and this one's going to look similar to a conch, but it doesn't have spikes. Whelk is spelled Whelk, and these are great for awakening imagination and creativity. I actually find these pretty often at thrift stores, and so I have a bunch of them. They're usually all around this size, and so I like to just have them in my room. I am a creative person. I love to express my creativity, and so I just keep these around to keep that energy flowing in my space. Next, we have a Cockle Shell, and this is similar to the scallop, but I don't know if you can see on there, it's got these like bumps. They're ridges, and because of these ridges and because of how firm these shells are, this I like to associate with protective magic, specifically emotional protection, because again, we're associating the shells to the planet Venus, and Venus is all about emotions, so protecting your emotions. That could be a good type of spell working to include this in. You could also just keep it with you when you feel like you need more protection or healing around your emotional health. Next, we have angel wings, and these do come in different colors. They look similar to scallops, but the ridges in them, I don't know if you can tell on camera there, but they kind of go out and upwards, and they're shaped like angel wings almost. If you look them up, you can see that they grow a lot bigger than that, and they look more like angel wings. They're really beautiful. Hopefully one day I can get one of those bigger ones. Now, because they're shaped like angel wings, I like to associate them with balance and peace and spiritual connection, divine connection. This is a periwinkle. It kind of looks like the snail shell, but it points outward, where a snail shell doesn't have this bump. I like to associate these with transformation and grounding. This one with grounding in particular, and so it usually lives in my dream work altar, and that's because I don't want my dreams to go all crazy energy, I need to have some sense of grounding in my dream world. This and a grounding protection crystal reside in my dream work altar. We also have coral. Coral comes in many different shapes and forms, as well as colors. Because of this, coral is associated with transformation and adaptability. It's also associated with intellectual growth and strength, as well as protection. Red coral is also associated with confidence, vitality, and courage. White coral is also associated with emotional balance and healing. All of those coral pieces I just showed you usually reside on my Venus altar, by the way, to bring those intentions into my altar, bring that energy whenever I am working at my altar or connecting to Venus. Next, we've got starfish. I've actually been trying to get starfish for a really long time now. I got lucky with this one. I found it at a thrift store. Starfish are associated with resilience and regeneration. They're also associated with spiritual guidance and connecting to the universe, as well as overcoming challenges, because starfish are very resilient creatures. Now, because of its star shape, I also associate this with Venus. If you didn't know, the planet Venus itself is also associated with stars and pentagrams. And that's because the way it orbits in the sky tends to shape certain points that make it look like a star shape. So I do associate starfish with everything Venusian energy, and that's also why that one resides on my Venus altar. Cowrie shells. I absolutely love cowrie shells. There are some ancient civilizations that resided near beaches, and so they would use cowrie shells as money. These have also been used as fertility amulets and evil eye amulets. And for these reasons, cowrie shells are associated with abundance, money, prosperity, fertility, and also evil eye protection. These are pretty versatile, and I just love the look of them. So I do have a few others, but they are currently in spell work. So I'm showing you the necklace that I used to wear, but I gifted to Venus. And so now this resides on my Venus altar. The conch shell. This big one. I have a few small conch shells, but this big one is called a queen conch. And I had to show you the big one because, again, I got lucky with this one at a thrift store. And every time I talk about it, it reminds me of that episode from SpongeBob. If you know, you know. Conch shells have been used by ancient civilizations as a horn. They've also been used as a divination tool by listening into it. And some people believe you can hear the ocean by listening into it. I used to love listening into a shell when I was a kid to see if I can hear the ocean. Because of these reasons, conch shells are associated with communication, as well as clarity and awareness and communicating with the divine. They're also associated with inspiration and creativity. This is a pearlized Trochus shell. Looks like this. I actually found this at a thrift store in that jar that I showed you earlier on. I had never seen one of these before. I had to look it up, and when I shared this on social media, somebody did help me out because I literally could not figure out what this was. But it's a pearlized Trochus shell. After looking it up, I did some research, and then I intuitively tried to feel out what this resonated with for me personally. Personally, this is associated with emotional healing and adaptability. And for the most part, snail shells of any kind, I feel, are associated with adaptability because snails and other creatures that use shell-like things tend to leave one shell and go find another one in order to help them grow. And so they find different ones all the time. And for that reason, the shells are associated with adaptability. These are auger shells. Because of their shape, these are associated with the divine masculine. They're also associated with vitality and physical strength, physical protection, and anything associated with the planet Mars as well. These are associated to Mars. Mars is my chart ruler, and therefore I do like using that type of energy in my spell work as well. I actually have a couple of these mixed in with some clam shells on my glamour altar so that I can have a bit of a balance between my divine feminine and masculine energies, my Venusian and Mars energies combined. And so you can use any type of seashells and sea things the same way that you would use crystals. You can also charge them with the moon or with moon water, or you can also just have them in your space to attract certain energies. So yeah, that is all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments if you have any of these shells, or if you have other shells that you like to use in your practice. Or do you even use shells in your practice at all? Have you considered it? Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with somebody you think might enjoy it. Thanks so much for watching, and have a blessed day, lovely witch.